Peace and blessings. I am Ade Anifowishe, aka Life Coach Ade. I'm sitting in this amazing open space that I covered. I didn't know this space was here. It's near my house. I'm not really feeling these things, but I'm sure they serve their purpose. What are they called? Transformers? I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy the vast and take a moment to share with you by my upcoming event, representing your ancestors. What's in a name? What's in the name? What's in your name? What's in your wallet? Your name is your soul signature. It's an imprint. It's a way that communicates who you are. Every time you say it, every time you speak it, every time you think about it. Why is it important to know about things like this? Connecting with our ancestors, understanding the energies that is infused in our names. Because life is inviting us to. Life is calling us up and out to go deeper, to get a better understanding of ourselves. Because when we get a better understanding of ourselves, we get a better understanding of what's going on in the world. I feel led to share something, but I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up on my other phone. I read it on my podcast about 2 weeks ago, and this past Wednesday, with Ricky Bias co-hosting with her. I didn't know I was going to share this, but let's see. Maybe it would work for me. The 20. Here we go. Oh, nice. Thank God for God. I didn't think I could open Google Doc without internet connection, but I can. So I'm led to share this because it's quite powerful, and especially when it comes to learning about our spiritual nature. Spirituality, the spiritual principles, learning about who we are spiritually. When we hear it, the idea of that you are loved already, that you are loved and you are loved, that you are powerful, that you are exactly where you need to be, it sometimes seems so simple. So simple that it's hard for us to really comprehend. It's like, yeah, I know I'm loved, I know that I'm worthy, but I got to do some things to make myself earn it, earn the love, earn the worthiness. But there is something to be said, and the only thing that needs to be said, that we don't have to do anything. Kind of thirsty. They're bringing the water with me. We don't have to do anything. We just have to be. Now, who you be is influenced by what you're aware of. And it's a daily practice to understand how to be me, how to be you, how to be us. So, workshops like representing your ancestors could sound like something like a luxury, a privilege for some people who got time on their hands. It's not a luxury. It is an investment in your well-being. It is an investment in your life. There's so much going on. I was saying this 10 years ago, and at that time I thought, oh my God, there's so much going on. But it seems like so much is always going on. It just depends on what we're aware of, what we know. There's war in Ukraine. We know about that. And there are many reasons why we know that. There's war in other parts of the world. There's war in countries in Africa that doesn't make the mainstream news in, particularly in America. America only focuses on what's happening in America and make it bigger than big or hide it. UK is a little bit more global. But there's so much going on. And the thing is, whether we see it on the news or not, whether we know about it with our logical mind or not, we can feel it. We can feel it, and we don't even know. Sometimes we think what we're feeling is ours. Oh, I feel overwhelmed. I feel tired. I'm just angry. I'm just pissed. Sometimes it's not yours. It's not yours. You're just tapping in. So, representing your ancestors, what's in a name? We're gathering this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. The link is bit.ly/your ancestors 3. bit.ly/your ancestors and the number 3. You can go there now. Sign up. Join us and grow. And why should you go there? Why should you join us? I'll tell you. So, this is something I found online. And I was actually looking for another quote about, I think the quote was something like, when I was young, I wanted to change the world. And when I was older, when I was wise or something, I realized the only thing I can change is me. And that was powerful enough. But just the way Spirit would have it, law of attraction. I was ready for this, and I found this, and it is just so powerful. And it's powerful in a simple way. And it explains why it is important for us to do our work. Whatever work we do, spiritual work that we do, it's not just for us. You're doing it for your siblings. You're doing it for your family members. You're doing it for society. But more importantly, you're doing it for yourself to set yourself free. Because if you're not at peace, you get caught up in the BS. All right, let me read it. So the title is, I Wanted to Change the World. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world. So I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town as an older man. I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realize the only thing I can change is myself. And suddenly, I realize that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town. Their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. So this was credited to an unknown monk, 1100 AD. Just think about that for a minute. I feel like I want to read it again. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I guess there was a time I was young, because I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world. So I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realized the only thing I can change is myself. And suddenly I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town. Their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. That's the only way. I don't want to say the only way. Sustaining, is that the word I'm looking for? Either way, if you're trying to change the world without changing yourself, you're going to make some kind of impact. But you may injure yourself. It may cost you your well-being. It may break your spirit. Or maybe not. But if you don't do the inner work to change yourself, to change how you've seen what needs to be changed, what wants to be changed, if you don't do the inner work, you will change the world, but you won't even know you've changed the world because you haven't changed. You start looking at the world that you've changed with old eyes. Think about that. Ancestors. It's a common conversation now. We hear about it a lot more. In the years gone, few years ago, a lot of people, I still know, I talked to a friend today who did her DNA test. People are wanting to know, where am I from? Who am I? Who am I? That is a question that will always be asked. In a world where there's war, in a war where people are invested in separation rather than connection or oneness, in a world where people are investing thousands and thousands, millions of dollars into creating AI and want it to be investing time to make it more self-aware. In a world where people are spending billions of dollars to go out of space, to be able to travel there. Now, I don't say any of that as a judgment, but what I do know is the more we connect to the great I Am, the Most High God, and I will always say this, I think I will always say it. When I say God, you get to go with the God of your own understanding. Don't get caught up. If your God is Muhammad, so be it. If your God is Jesus, so be it. If your God is the divine that can't be named, that has no name, so be it. If your God is so much more than Jesus, than religion, than spirituality, so be it. If you find your God through paganism, so be it. What I know is the deeper we go to learn more about ourselves, the more we place ourselves in a space where it's a win-win. In the way we use money, the way we use our skills, our gifts and talents will be different. And the thing about our creative energy, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling alone, you can still tap into the creative energy. You may not go to the higher vibration of it, higher frequency of it, but you're still tapping into it. And the things that you will end up birthing, creating, doing would reflect exactly where you were, where you are in consciousness. But when you allow yourself to surrender to the unknown, to tap into the invisible, what you end up creating, what you manifest, would be beyond what your logical mind can understand. when you first grasp it. It's like, wow, I just don't know how I did that, because you've now made yourself available. So with all that's going on in the world, whether it's inflation, things are becoming more expensive. When you do your work, when you commit to your spiritual practice, when you join together with community, when we join together with others, you're actually grounding yourself in deep roots. So rather than snapping or bending during a storm, you can just lean. You just lean. So what are you leaning into? What are you leaning from? What is keeping you grounded? Your ancestors. People who have lived on this planet thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years ago. And they live in you. They live as you. You are your ancestors, and your ancestors are you. We get to call on them, and when we call, you hear people say, call on your ancestors. I certainly say it. You're not calling on your ancestors who are separate from you. You're calling, you're tapping into the invisible realm, the mystery of life, and accessing the wisdom of your ancestors. Maybe not all of them, maybe a chosen few. Those who have walked this path and learned from life, learned from their culture, learned from being in community. And because their spirit is no longer contained in a physical body, they're connected to all that is. So when you call on your ancestors, you're tapping in, you're plugging in, you're plugging your device, your electrical device, whatever it is, like you're getting rebooted. You plug your computer because the power is running low, your phone is running low. Calling on your ancestors is to reboot your consciousness, your heart, your mind. It's to increase your memory. It's to go into the cloud, the ultimate cloud. So in this gathering, we use our names, the meaning of the names. Whether you change your names, maybe you once have a government name, as some people would say. Maybe you're thinking about changing your name. Maybe you changed your name, but you didn't change it officially. Whether you adopted, it all matters. Even if you're adopted, there are people who feel like because they're adopted, they've lost connection to their ancestors. Not true. You are your ancestors. And it may feel or seem like it's a bit difficult because you don't have pictures of your grandparents or your great-grandparents because other people have that. But, nah. You are it. There are people in America who have pictures of their great-great-grandparents, or at least their great-grandparents. And people said to me, I remember when I was in America, people would say to me, "Oh, you're from Nigeria, so you can track your ancestry." And I'm like, nope. I mean, I know my paternal grandmother, but not my grandfather, and no pictures of him. My maternal grandmother, I know her. The woman doesn't speak English. I don't even know if she understands English. I'm going to ask my siblings. But I remember, well, we all do, all my siblings, that if we did something wrong in the way she disciplined us, sometimes she may use a belt, sometimes her hand. And well, actually what she does, she will smack and then pinch. That's just mean, Grandma. That's just mean. Well, we call her mama. That's just mean. And then she'll pinch you and go say thank you. And you have to say thank you or else you're going to keep pinching. Talk about trauma. We all have stories. And as we represent our ancestors, we get to up level, we get to retell our stories. Now I don't know. I may have seen a picture of my maternal grandfather. I'm not 100% sure. But it's the pictures does help, but their image is in you. So when you pause, when you take a moment to be still and tap into imagination, aka image nation, you're tapping into the image of those who came before you. You're seeing with insight and recognizing that you are great. You are grateful. And as you do these kinds of workshops, do your spiritual practice on a daily basis, it empowers you because you get to know yourself differently. It's all about self-knowledge, self-awareness. The more you know about yourself, the stronger you are. The more resilient you are. The show I did on my podcast this past Tuesday, I called it The Pandemic of Belonging. And we struggle to find where we belong. We all have our story of belonging or unbelonging. And there are many ways, many processes, many technologies, many rituals, prayers, affirmation that we use to find our way back home. And as I was ending the show, and bear in mind, I called it the pandemic of belonging, which I later thought that should have been called the pandemic of unbelonging. It's a global thing. It's a universal dis-ease. So I was ending the show, and Dr. Naeem Akbar, who listens quite regularly, said at the end of the show, so he said, so the vaccine for the pandemic of belonging, pandemic of unbelonging, is to remember who you are. I was like, damn, yes, I like that. For a minute, I thought, oh, I wish I came up with that. But it was good because healing happens in community and we are interconnected, we're interdependent, we add to the piece of the puzzle. That had an impact on me. It's like, yes, there's a pandemic of belonging, a pandemic of unbelonging. And the vaccine that we need is to remember who we are. Remember who you are. My mother used to say that. I didn't know that's what it meant. Well, because in Yoruba it is Ranti Omo Enti Wanshi. Ranti Omo Enti Wanshi. So if I translate that literally, I would say, remember whose child you are. And I used to hear it like in my 20s when she said it as if she's telling me to remember my parents. And it wasn't until, I don't know, my 30s or 40s that I thought, wow, what my mother was actually saying is remember who you are. Remember who you are. And it just had no, she's no longer here on this planet. But I'm always talking to her, talking with her. She's always letting me know she's around. And in this moment, I feel like I would love to hear her say that. Like now that I fully understand it, remember who you are. Whether you're in a relationship that's not working, remember who you are. Whether you want to be in a relationship, can't get in a relationship, while other people are trying to get the hell out of the relationship, remember who you are. Whether it's a health challenge, remember who you are. Financial challenge, remember who you are. you look at the world and you feel discouraged, remember who you are. You find yourself in this place of just being depressed, just the way things are happening, what's happening in the world. Remember who you are. Even if it's clinical depression, when you have those moments, maybe a tiny half a second, if you can use that moment to just remember who you are. If you're struggling or feeling shame because deep down you don't know who you are, but you got the material wealth and people look at you like you got it made, but you go home and you're feeling like, I feel empty, remember who you are. And if you say, any of you say, I don't know what that is, well, that's it right there. Start the journey. Ask the question. Ask your ancestors. Ask the divine. Who am I? What am I? Tell me who I am. How do I know who I am? Ask the question. Life will respond. And another way to answering that question is to join us tomorrow, Saturday, July 9th, 2022, for representing your ancestors. Representing your ancestors. What's in the name? 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And the link is bit.ly/your ancestors 3. bit.ly/your ancestors. This one is kicking me. Your ancestors 3, and that's the number 3. We need each other. When you change your family, you change your town, and your town changes the nation, and the whole world is changed. And it all starts with you. Whether you have family members who don't understand you, family members who believe something different from you, it doesn't matter. In the big scheme of things, it's irrelevant if they see you as a black sheep or they don't understand you. It's irrelevant. It is. Sometimes when people understand you, that's a problem. It's like, oh my God, I can't even get my words out before you start finishing it for me. Well, because we know you. It's like, oh, okay. Remember who you are. Join me for my podcast on Tuesday, every Tuesday, Being You. Well, it's Ade Presents Being You. The journey back to yourself. 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time. This coming Tuesday, Rev D is going to be joining me. So tune in if you can. Catch it on YouTube. youtube.com/Life Coach Ade. youtube.com/Life Coach Ade. You can find me on IG as well, on Facebook. We are the ones that we are waiting for. And as you, on your journey to remembering who you are, take some time in nature. I guess I could just flip this. You matter. You belong. And what you're looking at right now, that's you. You think that sun is out there. It's in you. It's in you. That's why you can see it. That is you shining brightly, even if it's cloudy. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow. If not, we'll see you where we see you. And whatever you do, be true to yourself. I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Peace and blessings.